my chat works tonight. Let's see if my chat works tonight. Should be interesting. Works tonight. Although TikTok's not even working, so not my chat will. Hello. Was I more than 15 minutes? Okay, I was 20 minutes. Bad Connor. Hi from Door, Alabama. What's going on, Nightwolf? Let me open this window real quick. It's hot in here. Hey, someone over on the Tickety Talk, could you comment something in chat because I want to see if my chat is actually working tonight. We were having some issues yesterday. Anyone? Yeah, it was like 21 minutes, not 15. Yeah. Hi from Bikini Bottom. What's going on, Edwin? I'm surprised you got internet down there. Let's see. Has anyone commented on TikTok? I guess chat's probably not working again. I'll go check my live stream over here. You're probably gonna hear me for a second. Sorry. Okay, yeah, chat's not working. Oh my god, this is... And it's not letting me mute myself, so now we're gonna have... Okay. Alright, I guess the TikTok app is broken. Everything's broken. TikTok, well, I know TikTok was broken today because none of the videos, my feed just kept... Tell me if I'm crazy, guys. My feed wouldn't update, and I think my video after posting it... I don't know, I average 5,000 to 10,000 views a video. I think my video after posting it... I think I got up to... I think I got like 100 views. So I think just all of TikTok is broken. All right, that's fine. We can live. We can live. We can live. That's why we're on YouTube as well. Probably have a better experience on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Let's close that out. Okay, I have to rearrange some stuff now that I've confirmed that TikTok chat isn't working. So give me a second. Just gonna slightly delay my stream. Slightly. All right, now I have both chats. I think we're chilling. Okay. All right, that works. All right, let me open my window, then we'll get started. Alrighty. Here's the latest Rufus. All right, we'll get started here in a second. The only problem is, guys, I can't even see like gifting or anything. I can't even see pins and everything. I'm watching my YouTube chat on YouTube on the sorry, I'm watching my TikTok chat on the TikTok desktop, like on the TikTok web page. It's really dumb. Very dumb. Very dumb indeed. Very silly. Got me in a good mood. Got him in a good mood. Ugh. Okay. All right. What's going on, everyone? Everyone doing good? We're looking at the next 84 hours on here, basically the next 3 days of weather. Look at that. You got Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas involved, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, a little bit of Ohio in severe weather. Of course, Texas there, Oklahoma, Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska, Missouri, Wisconsin, portions of southern Minnesota. Chicago gets involved in severe weather. If you're anywhere in this circled region, let's just do like something like this. You've got a chance for severe weather. Is anyone in that circled region? Is anyone in that circled region? In chat? We've got to have 1 or 2 people in chat in the circled region. 1 or 2 people got to be in chat in the circled region, right? And it specifically, if you're here, you're screwed. Who's in that circled region? Who's in that circled region? We'll expand this a little bit. Who's in that circled region? Kidding, you're not screwed. But we're gonna talk about some things. YouTube, how's the music volume? Is it too loud, too quiet? Is it good? Just right. We're gonna move in here now. Okay. All right. Well, shit. Now you circled me. All right. Let's talk. Let's go over our severe risk zones. Here's our day one. This is what's going on. Let's go to our composite reflectivity right now. Let's actually look at our HRRR. Let's go to our HRRR. That's one thing I like about, one thing I miss about Radar Mega is you can actually have your model up and your, well, actually, maybe I could do that here too. There you go. I can do that here too. I lied. So let's go to the HRRR. Let's look at tonight. What's going on here? Honestly, I haven't really been paying attention. I've been so busy with kids and work all day. All right, so here's getting into tonight. And so this is our severe weather. So we have a very late severe weather threat tonight, by the way. So here we go. As we get into around 2 to 3 a.m. Central Time, I will be sleeping. We're going to start to get, if this was my full-time job, I wouldn't be. But we're going to start to get a squall line developing, which one day it will be. We're going to start to get a squall line developing right there through portions of south central Kansas and western Oklahoma. And that's going to begin to move off to the east. Now, I believe, is this still just a hail threat or did we get an upgrade? Just a hail threat. But we do have a SIG 1. We do have a SIG 1 hail threat. So Wichita, Woodward, Ponca City, Newton, everyone in between. You could get some large hail tonight. Here we go. Storm's starting to fire off potentially as we get right into around 12, 1 a.m. Maybe even a little earlier. Maybe 10, 11. Maybe 10, 11 they start to fire off. So maybe within the next hour or two they start to fire off. And then as we push through the morning, it's going to be a real messy commute for us out here. I'll take your questions in a second, guys. Let me go through this. Central to southern Missouri out here towards Arkansas. It's going to be a messy commute in the morning. But just a hail threat really right now. It's possible we get some damaging winds. It's possible we get a weak tornado on the ground here. But excessive rainfall for sure. All right, now let's go into our day 2 threat. Categorical. Here we go. So getting into day 2. This is 10 a.m. Now, I don't suspect this first round of weather will be severe. Call me crazy. I don't suspect this first round of weather will be severe. Why is my camera sitting off center on my computer? When did that happen? I knew something was off. There we go. That's weird. Oh, that's so weird. I knew something was off. When did I do that? But anyways, this is around 10 a.m. You can see the future reflectivity. You can see our risk zone. Now we move through time. This is going to be a lot of rainfall. I don't suspect we start to get severe here until a little bit later in the day. So let's, as we get towards the evening hours and we start to get some of these thunderstorms down here to the south, I think these are going to be, this is going to be our greatest severe threat. We'll take a look at the updraft helicity future reflectivity in a second though, just to confirm that. So here we go. It's messy out here. Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois. We're messy out here as we push through the morning into the afternoon. Lots of rainfall. Definitely getting into some severe weather, especially down here, Dallas-Fort Worth. I mean, Dallas-Fort Worth could start seeing the potential for some severe weather around 3 to 4 p.m. Central, and then those storms are going to push off into the north and east as we push into the evening hours and then into the morning hours, up here towards the most severe weather up here towards Illinois and Indiana. So that's what's going on. And you could see some trailing severe weather here too. We'll have to see as we move into Thursday. Anyways, speaking of Thursday, let's look at the Rufus. The latest Rufus. Here we go. Speaking of Thursday, and actually I like how the Rufus handles this better. This severe weather tomorrow a little bit better. Boom, right there. You see how you get that second ignition? I don't think these storms are going to be too bad, but then you get this right, boom, right there. I think that's our severe threat. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right there. And then into the early morning hours. That's our severe threat. So that would be Dallas-Fort Worth. We're watching closer to, yeah, still 3 to 4 p.m. Anyways, pushing into Thursday. Let's look at our day 3. This is going to be our day 2 very soon. But here you go. 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, right there. So between 5 and 8 p.m., these storms are going to be rolling through the Texas Panhandle. Could have even a severe thunderstorm down here around San Angelo or south of San Angelo. Definitely possible to get some large hail with this. And a spin up, damaging winds. Yeah, maybe a tornado. And then as we push out towards Friday, which we can't see the risk zone on here, but as we push out towards Friday, which is going to be the 6th, this is the squall line right here that we're watching. Boom. Right there. 7 p.m. We'll say into the evening hours, 5, 6, 7 p.m. Eastern Kansas, southeastern Nebraska, pushing up towards central to southern Iowa, western Missouri, northern Oklahoma. That's our Friday. I'm drawing all over the place for no reason. So here we go. This is our Friday. And then look at what this thing does. Look at that QLCS on the latest. Look at that QLCS on the latest Rufus. You know what I mean? That is this is a squall line that can produce QLCS tornado, quasi-linear convective system. Okay. So that's what's going on with that. Last thing before I get to taking questions. Let me get off of this. Let's get off of Outlooks. I will just let right now the latest Rufus play so you guys can see what's going on here. Are we seeing an uptrend? Are we seeing a downtrend? Well, first of all, let's take a look at our forecast. First of all, let's take a look at SBC outlooks. Day 1 to day 8. Pivotal weather. Never mind. Pivotal weather is doing its pivotal weather thing and not loading the outlook. Not shocked. All right. Well, we will go here. We'll go into outlooks here. So we know what our day 1 is. Here's our day 2 convective outlook. Now here, I'll break this down over here so you guys can see it better. There you go. Day 2 outlook, obviously slight. But we know what's going on there. We know what's going on in day 2. We'll go over that in a second. Actually, I did want to get just directly into day 3 anyway, so that's fine. Okay, so let's just get into our day 3 and day 4. Actually, day 4 specifically, because we went over the other ones. Here's our day 4. There's your enhanced risk. Kansas City, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, getting pretty close to Dallas-Fort Worth. Trying to push that enhanced risk could always stretch up there towards Des Moines. It's possible. Like I said in my stream yesterday, I expected our slight risk to spread out. It did spread out. It did expand. Let me get my pen up so I can do a little drawing over here for you guys. I think it's possible. Our enhanced risks. Oh, how am I doing that? What the heck? What did I just do? I think it is possible that our enhanced risk expands a little bit too. There's an argument online of whether this should be an enhanced risk or not because some of the globals aren't matching up right now. The weird things are going on with the models. This could end up being a complete dud of a day. I still think there's something to it here, and I'll show you why in a second. But I think that could expand as well. By the way, give me about 2 more minutes. I'll get to your questions. By the way, we've been talking about it. I've been talking about it for weeks. That I thought we'd get very warm and have a lot of severe weather through the first couple weeks of March, and then we'd see a big major cool down. You guys know I've been saying it. Don't pretend like I haven't been saying that. Don't pretend like I haven't been saying that for 2 weeks in my videos. At least a week and a half. Surface temperature anomalies. Here's the latest 12Z Euro. Hot, 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 severe weather, severe weather, severe weather, and there it is. Major cold blast back into the States. Told you, winter's not done. Wait until this. Wait until the second half of March is over, and then you can tell me winter's done. How about that? Called it. Called it. All right, let's break this down just a little bit more so I can take questions. I'll do it in 2 seconds. Let's go to models. Rufus. And then we're going to take a look really quickly at the 850 millibar winds. How's everything looking right now for Friday? Well, there's our shortwave trough. All right, this is getting into, this would be around 2 a.m. on Friday. Now we're getting into around 3 p.m. on Friday. There, you see, you get this first kind of trough ejection here, but this is at a weird time. This is 9 a.m. on Friday. I don't think we'll have to see. I don't think we're going to be having much going on here at 9 a.m. on a Friday. We could have some severe weather pushing through there. It's rare to get that morning severe weather just because of you want your air to warm up and dry out before you get the severe weather. It's weird to get it in the morning. Anyways, this second kind of ignition of our 850 millibar winds where we're seeing 70 knot winds above our heads. All right, so that's 90 plus mile per hour winds. This is concerning to me. This area right here. Okay, so central to western Illinois, southeastern Iowa, central to northern Missouri, and then southeastern Kansas there, northeastern Oklahoma. This whole area is a little bit concerning. Taking a look at at least according to the Rufus model. We'll look at more later. I'm not going to go over them all now because I want to answer your questions. And then obviously dew points is important to look at. I'll just show you that real quick. Here's our dew points at the same time. Pretty nice cutoff. We're going to have a little something pretty interesting happening down here. Something pretty interesting happening down here. This is kind of a true dry line right here. You also kind of have this fork in our dew points here, and this is directly where we're having that significant shear. So at least based off the Rufus, my most concerning area is right here. I would say north central to northeastern Missouri. North central to northeastern Missouri going into western Illinois. Right there. Right there. But especially northeastern Missouri. But those, if we do get a tornado on the ground, it's going to continue to track east, southeast into Illinois. Anyways, I think that's all I have. I guess lastly, I'll just show you how this looks on our reflectivity, because this is kind of important on our updraft helicity reflectivity. Let's go to, I guess we'll just go here to the Ohio Valley, and you can see that. Let's see where it puts our updraft helicity. Yeah, marks right there, right there. Has them a little bit farther north than I would think. You can see the supercellular storms right here, supercellular storms right here. I actually don't think there's going to be a gap right here. I think this is where the most significant weather is going to be. We'll see if I'm right, right? We'll see if I'm right. Clip it. We'll see if I'm right. I think we're going to get a pocket of very serious storms through central northeastern Missouri there. Just based off of mine, just my thoughts. It could change. This is still day 4, about to be day 3. And I want to take a look at the HRRR. This could obviously change. Obviously, there's too much time, but that's my thoughts right now. And if they change, I'll let you know. What's going on, everyone? Let me answer some questions. And again, I appreciate any follows, any subs. I can't even see any gifts because TikTok isn't working. So I can't see any gifts. If anyone gifts me, I appreciate you a lot, but I can't even react to it. So I can see super chats though. I'm kidding. You guys don't have to super chat. You guys don't have to gift. I appreciate you being in here. What matters the most to me is just followers and subs. I'm trying to grow my channel. That's it. It's awesome that you guys are in here helping the algorithm out. So do you think Fort Wayne, Indiana will see any more snow? Very much, yeah. I can't tell you if it's gonna or not because there's no snow in the short to medium range in any of the models. But 100%, a pattern is coming that could put snow directly through Fort Wayne. Heavy snow as well. Yes, the pattern is setting up for as we push through the second week of March. It's actually going to be a little earlier than I thought. Now I was saying mid-March. Then it looked like it was going to be pushing towards the 4th week, and now it's looking like it actually is mid-March. So, you know, like I said, I think this cold air that's coming is inevitable. I've been saying that for quite a while, but one second, I just got a text. One second, guys. One second. Okay. West Tennessee still need to buckle up. Let's take a look. We'll use the latest Rufus right now. I really like the Rufus. But you have to remember also the Rufus tends to sometimes be a little bit too aggressive, and the HRRR sometimes is not aggressive enough. I compare this. I compare the Rufus to the GFS, except for the Rufus is a much better model than the GFS. And one's a short range and one's a medium range. So they're completely different. But I compare it in the way as the GFS a lot of times is too aggressive and the Euro's not aggressive enough. That's how I look at the HRRR and the Rufus. The Rufus is going to be a little bit aggressive. A lot of times the Euro's not aggressive enough with severe weather. The HRRR almost always underdoes dew points. The HRRR can also underdo shear. So, and the Rufus can overdo both of those. But you take a look right here. This is Wednesday. Let's take a look at this time frame here. You could get some severe storms into western Tennessee. This would be Wednesday around 9 p.m. And then we push a little bit further through the night. Now we're getting into the early morning hours. And you can see these storms are really tiptoeing Tennessee. Really tiptoeing Tennessee. Right here. Western Tennessee. Memphis, Nashville. Something to watch out for. Wednesday night into Wednesday morning. And then moving out a little bit further than that, you're going to have another opportunity for severe weather out here as we get into Saturday night probably. I know they don't have a risk zone out here right now, but this is a QLCS that could be walking into Tennessee Saturday night. So Kentucky, Tennessee, maybe eastern Arkansas and Mississippi, Alabama. Who knows? Ohio. Northwest Arkansas is a pretty spicy area to be. You're going to have multiple opportunities for some pretty significant severe weather. What we're looking at right now is the UH over 75 reflectivity, just updraft helicity over 75, which just means that these storms could have violent rotation. And that's what you see when we look down here. That's what you see when you see these little streaks. This just means this could be a supercell. Let's look at northwestern Arkansas moving forward. Some spotty little discrete cells. A little interesting as we get into Wednesday morning. But again, it's hard to get severe weather that early in the morning. But then, again, as you get into around 3, 4, 5 p.m. Wednesday. Is that tomorrow? That is tomorrow, isn't it? Wednesday, we're watching the threat for severe weather up there in northwestern Arkansas. And moving forward a little bit, that continues as we push throughout the night. All right, now we're getting into about midnight, continuing, and then eventually it begins to die out. But Wednesday is pretty significant. And then again, as we push out towards Friday. Really early in the morning, Saturday morning. Really late Friday night. There is the possibility that we get some more severe weather through northwestern Arkansas. What do you think about the lower Ohio River Valley for the next week or two? You're going to have multiple shots for severe weather. Let's watch what happens on Saturday for you guys out there. And then let's also watch I think we're going to get snow back into the Ohio Valley, potentially. Some sort of snow setup as we get into late into the second week of March. I know that sounds silly. Also, pushing out towards... God, I don't... Okay, well, I'll do it right now. 10th through the 12th is going to be interesting. And that has a lot to do with this. Tell me if you notice anything here happening around the 10th. Tell me if you notice anything here. Let me go back to the 12Z. Here's the 10th. Notice anything? 10th, this is the 10th at night. This is the 11th. You guys notice anything? We're only talking 180 plus hours here. Anything standing out to you on this temperature anomaly map? Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call it a dry line, but you probably would have a dry line here. Yeah, you probably would have a dry line. That'd be dry, cold air or moist air out ahead of this. And I'm sure the jet stream looks wild here. Let's take a look at the 500 millibar jet stream. There it is. Ripping through here. All right. Lower Ohio River Valley. Ohio Valley Midwest. Very impressive. And here's your shear. Your surface shear. This looks like one of those days that could go moderate. You can't say if it's I can't say if it's actually gonna. It's too far out. You know, this look could weaken a little bit. This look could end up looking even a little bit more wild as we get closer in time. It's too hard to tell. I'm just saying if this look exactly how it's sitting right now happened, this would be a very, very severe day. Likely, we'd have a good chance for a severe weather outbreak. And then you'd go through a severe weather outbreak with tornadoes, hail, and wind, and then you'd have the chance for snow on the back end of it. Which, I'll look at this low pressure system here. What does this look like on the? There you go. Snow system through the upper Midwest, and then there's your snow through the Midwest. Behind it, Mid-Atlantic, New England snow. There's a chance for another snowstorm. So the wild middle to end of March right now is what it's looking like. Which is kind of what I was telling you guys for quite a while, over a week, that it looks like we're going to have a lot of heat and severe weather in the beginning, and then we're going to have the chance for a couple major snowstorms and major cold outbreak in the second half of March. That's why you got to stick with your gut. It's looking good. Not saying it's going to happen, but it's still looking like the pattern. So I'm paying attention very closely to the Ohio Valley, Mississippi Valley, Midwest, and then all out towards the Mid-Atlantic and New England as we get towards the 11th through the 13th time frame in March, and how that pattern is going to start to set up for you guys. Any chance of SoCal mountains getting any snow in the next couple of weeks? Just taking a look at our 12Z Euro, there's not much snow at all. I mean, northern Sierra Nevada maybe, but you've got a pretty nice zonal flow of warm air sitting over you guys for quite a while, unfortunately. Sorry, I can't see that right. I gotta switch my screens. It's gonna be a spicy week. So book it for DC snow. It's possible. Yeah, I pay for Weather Belt. $70 a month. The dew points, just because I have to do that to be able to stream it. Yeah. Let's see. The dew points for this time of year are actually concerning for the future. Yeah, we're seeing some dew points push up to 65 to 70. Let's take a look at the dew points. I mean, let's take a look. We'll take a look at the Rufus on here. This will show us some good dew points. Surface moisture, dew points. Let's get in a little bit closer. There you go. Look at this. This is a concerning look on Friday night. This is a concerning look right here. This kind of notch in our dew points. This is also a concerning look. This notch in our dew points down here. A little bit concerning. Not the craziest thing I've ever seen, though. Obviously, you're seeing a much more significant dry line as we get down here towards the south, at least with the latest Rufus. But yeah, I mean, we have dew points getting into the upper 60s through eastern Texas, mid 60s, Arkansas, Oklahoma already, and we are just entering March. So pretty high dew points. Pretty high dew points. Next week, how does Cumberland Plateau and Tennessee look next week? It's hard to tell next week. I mean, I'm not going to try to pretend I know what's going to happen 6+ days from now. Likely, we're going to still have the chance for severe weather next week. I mean, I've been kind of talking about it. Looking out towards, we were just talking about it, looking out towards the 10th and 11th. So this is next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This looks pretty significant. Around that time frame looks pretty significant out here for the Ohio Valley, including Tennessee. And then a big plunge of, I wouldn't call it polar air, but very cold Canadian air. Very early February-like air for mid-March right behind it. So could end up even getting some snow through Tennessee next week, late in the week, with some severe weather early to middle of the week. GFS is crazy. How's the new one looking? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the new GFS. Oh, it is actually pretty loaded. Here's the new GFS. Still giving us a good severe weather look for Friday. but we don't really care about the globals in this time frame anymore. Look what it's doing on Saturday, guys. The GFS is trying to give us a significant severe weather event down here on Saturday. Much of central to eastern Texas, straight through Arkansas, western Tennessee. Interesting. Maybe even northern Mississippi there. Central Tennessee. Interesting look there on the GFS. Anyways, this is the latest GFS. You're starting to see another severe setup as we get into next Monday night. This upcoming Monday night through here. Obviously, it's weird looking at it through this type of future reflectivity. But this GFS is still loading. I just want to see if it still agrees with the Euro on that big collapse of cold air. We can look out back towards the 18Z, and there's your severe weather through Mississippi Valley, out through the Tennessee Valley, or out through the Ohio Valley here, getting into the 13th, 14th. You see, the GFS isn't showing that big collapse of cold air that the Euro is. And the GFS, I can tell you, is wrong, not having any collapse of cold air out here all the way through the 19th. I can tell you it's wrong. Very confident in that. We'll see, but I'm pretty confident in that. I'm very confident in that. We've had such a stratospheric disruption. We're gonna get some of this collapsing, and it's gonna be collapsing towards the east, likely, that polar jet. Any thoughts on Omaha, Nebraska Friday? Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because to me, what it looks like is, and we can take a look. What's our NAM 3K seeing out to? Take a look at this. It's probably not seeing out far enough, but we do have the MPAST out 84 hours. So, ooh, interesting what's happening here at the end of the MPAST. You start to see multiple QLCS setting up. You see a QLCS setting up here. You see a QLCS setting up here. And let me fix my screen so you guys can see it better. Now that I'm going from program to program, I have to keep switching how to center the screen because I'm going back and forth from Weather Bell. But the MPAS and the Rufus currently are setting up our squall line right over Omaha or right to the east of it, which may mean that the cells don't fully develop until they're right to the east of Omaha, which would be good, which would mean you guys would avoid a lot of the worst severe weather. Let's take a look. NAM 3K is only going to go out 60 hours. Let's take a look here. I'm not going to see far enough out here either. To me, Omaha. What's our SBC? How does the SBC have this risk zone again? Let's see. Let's see. For day 4. Okay. So I kind of agree with this. I don't think they're going to stretch out that slight anymore. It looks like we're going to start getting some significant either QLCS or at least just a discrete setup that turns into a QLCS right on the edge of this slight, which is, it kind of makes sense where they have the slight. I think we could even get this developing just to the east of this slight. They may even end up bringing the slight in a little bit to the east here. So Omaha may just avoid the worst of it on Friday, but it's going to be close, so stay updated. These storms could end up developing right to the west of Omaha and then going straight through Omaha. So interesting. Pull up 500 on the Valley system. What were we on GFS? Des Moines, Iowa. I don't think you're avoiding severe weather on Friday. I don't think Des Moines, Iowa is avoiding severe weather on Friday. You've also got that marginal risk for Thursday. So pay attention Thursday and Friday. Friday does look more severe, though. Potentially as well if you do get a squall line set up there with some QLCS tornadoes. QLCS tornadoes are usually weaker, by the way, than discrete cells, discrete setups. Unless you get a unless the tornado's on the kind of southern edge of the QLCS, just because you don't get as clean of air. You don't get as clean of an inflow region on a squall line as you can with a supercell out in the middle of nowhere in a discrete setup. Could be a supercell threat in Dixie on the 12th. Yeah, I mean, we can go back and look at this. The GFS is still loading. Let's take a look at where it's at. Let's take a look. GFS, we're out towards 165 hours now. Let me refresh this. Look at that. Look at that as we get out to the 10th. This looks fun. Let's take a look at the jet stream here. Cut off low. You can see this trough developing down here to the south. Cut off from our main jet stream to the north. This is obviously going to look at the divergence in here. You guys see this, how everything looks super squiggly and weird? Look, you see how solid this looks, guys? This coloration in here, very solid, very clean. Look at the messiness of this right here. Look at the messiness of this compared to something like this up here. This is divergence. That's a significant amount of divergence showing up on the latest GFS through here. Next Tuesday, Monday to Tuesday. I'm also seeing 65 knot shear through here as well. Although this is at the 500 millibar level, that's not very impressive. Down here, I would assume that this would intensify. Let me see if this is updated yet. This looks pretty interesting. Let me see if we get any further. We do get a little bit further here. There you go. And then that jet starts to intensify. Now we're getting towards much higher. 80 knot, 82 knot, 83 knot. What's our 850 millibar doing here on the GFS? This to me looks like it could be significant. Next Tuesday. Look at this. Such a clean, look at this, direct southerly. Look at these perfectly southerly winds at the 850 level. Perfectly southerly. Now what happens? What happens if we go back towards the 500? I'm guessing we're gonna have that southwesterly flow. So back to the 500. 500 is actually pretty southerly as well. So that's not a lot of directional shear. Go up to the 300. Yeah, I mean, this is coming straight off the Gulf. This is probably significant dew points. Let's take a look at that as well real quick. All right, surface dew points. Let's take a look at our dew points. There you go, 65 dew points into northern Arkansas. We're pushing 70 down here along the border of Louisiana, Texas. We're 74 down here. 67. 67. Dew points get up to 67, 68. Dallas-Fort Worth. Mid-March. Good Lord. Okay, well, that's definitely something to watch. The latest GFS is being pretty aggressive next week as well. Pretty aggressive next week. All right, let me get back to answering your questions. Is winter over for Philadelphia? No. No. You're gonna get another big push of cold air and the chance for more winter weather. It looks like the GFS is about to cave to the euro, by the way, guys. Notice what's happening now around the 12th. This polar jet's beginning to collapse a little bit further than it was before. Maybe not. I think it is. Let's take a look at the model trend. There it is. It is. It is. My eyes aren't deceiving me. Here's the last model run. There's your polar jet. Notice where it is. We're pretty much in northern Wyoming and central Nebraska. Latest GFS. There you go. Why not? Now we're in northern Colorado, northern Kansas with our jet. So we just went from here to here. This is beginning to collapse a little bit further down into the plains. This is, again, going to be set up a big chance for major severe weather, potentially a big severe weather outbreak through here. Also, it does look like this is going to start to agree with the Euro on this big blast of cold air as we get into late into the second week of March. I'm telling you guys, you could get early February-like temps back into the Ohio Valley out towards the east. Someone's getting a big snowstorm again out east. I think there could end up being two, but someone's getting a big snowstorm out east again as we push in the middle of late March. South Dakota getting a snowstorm? Potentially. Look at that. Look at that collapsing now. Look at this. This would be a day right here. Oh my gosh. This would be a severe weather day right here. Look at that. I want to take a look back at our... I feel like I got to call Matt on this. Holy smokes. Holy... 1 second. One second. I know he's streaming. What the heck, man? Should we go on his stream and see if he's just ignoring me? Let's go on his stream and see if he's hanging up on me as I'm calling him. What do you guys think? Oh, did he just get off a stream? Okay, he just got off a stream. Boo. Call me Matt. This is impressive. This is impressive. Still pretty far out though. We're talking next Tuesday to Thursday, it looks like. Very impressive. This would be a big day. This would be a big, if you copy and pasted this day of, this is a moderate plus risk. But again, it's far out, so we can't really, it's all just at this range. This is what the GFS is good at doing though, seeing, but you know, wow, look at this. Seeing the potential. 70 knot winds at the 850 millibar level. We're talking 85 plus mile per hour winds at the 850 millibar. Holy smokes. I wish I could take a sounding this far out just for fun. Give me a second. I actually want to push in here a little bit further. 1 second, guys. This might make our Friday. If we end up seeing something like this, this would make our Friday look like nothing, I think. Let me go in here a little bit closer. Regional. Where was that 80 knot? This is a crazy look. This is insane. All right, well we'll get back to that in a second. I'll continue to answer your questions. We'll get back to that. I'm gonna go to the latest Rufus, and we're gonna continue to take a look at that. Let's get back towards national. I just pulled. I have a tornado sounding on GFS on the 10th. Oh, does the GFS actually let you take soundings? I didn't even click. I don't really care. I don't really care about GFS sounding though. Let's be honest. Do we really care about a GFS sounding? 190 hours out. Let's be honest with ourselves. You're right. It does pull up a sounding. I don't know if I even care about it. It's gonna be hard to get a good one too. I was interested to see what these 40 knot surface shear, 306 storm relative helicity, so marginal tor risk. Look at this. Look at this photograph. Hook. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anyways, okay. Interesting to look at, but there's plenty of time for that to change, so let's not pay too much attention to that. But you know, this would be very, very significant. This would be a very, very significant severe weather outbreak for the Ohio Valley. Dixie Alley in the Ohio Valley. All right. Back to reality. Yep. Could be super solid. Yep. Dixie Alley in the 12th. Yep. Storm Tracker, we're talking about for that. Look at dew points. Central Oklahoma, Friday, Thursday. You mean Thursday, Friday? Let's take a look. Central Oklahoma, Thursday, Friday. You know what? I haven't even looked at, guys. SIGTOR params with you. I haven't even looked at SIGTOR params. Let's take a look at some SIGTOR params. Why don't we? Let's go regional. Okay, let's take a look at some SIGTOR params. Thursday. This is pushing out towards... We've got Oklahoma City down here. Let's take a sounding right here. Nice curved photograph. Obviously, possible hazard type Tor. 3.0 SIGTOR param. 25 knot low level shear. It's pretty good. SRH 240 storm relative helicity. That's pretty good. Lots of inhibition though. 1200 joules per kilogram Cape. Pretty good rotational shear. Pretty good rotational shear. There's not much velocity shear, meaning our winds look like they're spinning, but we're not having much of a change of wind velocity with height. But it's okay. You only need really one of those. Inhibition. This is for Thursday night. This would be, I believe, let's see, what is this? The O1Z for O1Z Friday. So this would be around 8 p.m. Thursday night for Oklahoma City. Inhibition. Again, I explained inhibition yesterday. Capping is when your air is beginning to rapidly rise and expand, and then it hits a warm layer of air and it can't expand anymore. Warm air has to rise through a warm air parcel has to rise through a cooler air parcel. If there's a warm layer in the mid layers, it caps the atmosphere. Inhibition means there's just not enough buoyancy. And a lot of times inhibition has to do with low dew points, but not always. Inhibition means it doesn't matter if there's a cap there or not. All your instability in that air parcel can't even get off the ground. But what happens with inhibition is sometimes as the day moves on and your dew points creep up, suddenly your air parcel starts to float a little bit and starts to rise up. And so you can have inhibition and capping, but inhibition's differently. This means our storm's we're not even getting anything firing up. This means like you Oklahomans know what a tornado smells like or what severe weather smells like. You're not even smelling severe weather with inhibition. With capping, you're smelling severe weather, and you're sitting there like, if you have like major capping on significant instability in the plains, you're like, all the people in the central and southern plains are like, smells like a tornado, but there's sunny skies. Why is it sticky and smells like a tornado, but there's sunny skies? That's capping. You got negative inhibition. You're not even smelling the tornado. I don't know what a tornado smells like. I'm not from Oklahoma or Kansas, but I've heard. You guys, what does a tornado smell like? All right. Let's see. Yeah, I can go back and look at the dew points there. On GFS. Boom. Let's get back out of here. All right, yeah, I'll push back out here real quick. Right back into the GFS. We'll do it quickly. Boom. And we'll go look at the dew points there. I don't really care about dew points out in the Ohio Valley, though. I mean, I do care about dew points for buoyancy and instability, but not because of the dry line. You don't get much of a dry line out there. All right, so dew points. Ooh. 67 to 68. Dew points up, pushing up towards Memphis on the 11th. Look at the 12th, though. The 12th, there's nothing going on. Nothing on the GFS. Nothing. This is a 10th and 11th severe weather event. This is a Wednesday, Thursday severe weather event next week. Potentially. Potentially. Severe weather threat for tomorrow. Dark grass with light rain that gives you a moist feeling. That's what it smells like. Yum. Nothing like having a moist feeling. Tornado smells like dirt. Tornado smells like dirt. Love it. Excuse me while I take a look at the stratosphere, everyone. Excuse me while I take a look at the stratosphere. Holy smokes. That is a warm stratosphere. This is a major stratosphere. Here's what's going on in our stratosphere, in case anyone was wondering. Here's where our historical average for our stratospheric polar vortex winds should be. Right there. Here's where the winds are. They're not winding. They're not moving. Full reversal tomorrow, maybe. Full reversal. Reversal of our stratospheric polar vortex winds tomorrow. You wonder why models are calling for a significant cool down, significant blast of cold air into the second half of March. Notice what happens to our historical average wind speeds of the stratospheric polar vortex as we push through March and into April. You don't have a significant stratospheric polar vortex to talk about over summer, spring, summer, early fall. Stratospheric polar vortex winds happen when you get a very, very low pressure up there, and it gets well below freezing over winter. It gets into, negative 100, 200 plus degrees up there in the North Pole, up in the stratosphere. And that air has to be locked in by those polar vortex winds. But so this is about as late as we can have a SSWE, sudden stratospheric warming event. But this is going to cause issues with winter weather late into March. This could even lag. I'm not lying, guys. We could even see a major polar break or a major push of February type Arctic, not Arctic. We'll call it Canadian cold air into early April as well. All right. I can't wait for a tornado season. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of, it's kind of upon us. It's kind of upon us. We're not going to get we're not going to get through the next few days without seeing, I would say, we're not going to get through the next few days without seeing 20 plus tornadoes. 20 plus tornadoes next 3 days. We could end up seeing 60 plus. But I'm counting EF0s, EF1s, weak ones that touch the ground real quick and go back up. Significant tornadoes over the next few days, maybe 5. I don't know. If. Could be more. Could be more. Remember, most tornadoes are EF0, EF1s. Counting EF0, EF1s, yeah, we could see 20 plus easily over the next few days. Again, strong tornadoes. I don't expect 20 plus strong tornadoes. Maybe even 30 plus, I'll say. It's strong tornadoes, much less. I am not joking. All your storm chasers wouldn't be out here if they were chasing down 2 to 4 tornadoes over the next 3 days. Believe me, they would not be out here. I think Reed Timmer made a post about this. How many tornadoes did Reed Timmer say that we could see? Can you check the NAM SIGTOR parameters? Yeah, I can. Give me a second. I'll pull up the SIGTOR parameters. Let me see what Reed said on this. Reed usually has something to say about this. Let's go to his X page. Blah 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 blah. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. 5 days, 4/7 forecast. This was March 2nd. This was yesterday. Man, he posts a lot. Let's see. One second, guys. We'll count the tornadoes together. We will count the tornadoes together. No, I don't know if there's anything. Yeah, let's take a look at our NAM. We take. Do you want to look at the NAM? We can take a look at the NAM. I'm not going to look at the NAM. I'll look at the NAM 3K. We'll look at the NAM 3K SIG-TOR params. SIG-TOR. Let's take a look at some soundings. Here's the SIG-TOR. There we go. Getting into Wednesday, 4 a.m. Here we go. Getting spicy here. All right, this is sounding out of southeastern Oklahoma. Late Wednesday, or late Wednesday and early Thursday. All right. Not much inhibition there. That should be fine. 1,600 joules per kilogram of CAPE is a lot. Possible hazard type TOR, 2.0. About 1.5 to 2.0 SIG-TOR. Good rotational shear. Not a lot of velocity shear. 23 knot shear. Oh, I have to do my final training, guys. I never completed this. I need to release a video, like, quickly, since we're getting into severe weather season, on what all this means. I have a video in my Discord of what this all means. Very simplified video. What this all means. I do need to get into what this all means. Don't forget, guys, my Discord is completely free to join. All the maps, graphs, everything we look at in my live streams are all posted in my Discord every single day. It's a one-stop shop for everything weather. Winter weather, spring severe weather, tropical, hurricane, season weather, fire, volcanoes, earthquakes, even though they're not really weather. Everything's in there. Update every single day. There's a link to my Discord in every single one of my YouTube videos. You can just click the link, you join for free, or just add Connor's Climate Corner on Discord, you'll join. And I will, I'll invite you to the server and make you part of the climate crew. All right. Not much. I mean, yeah, not too bad. Southeastern Oklahoma here on this sounding. So this is around actually 11. This is around Wednesday morning. We have that SIG-TOR there. Very interesting. Wednesday morning. Now, some interesting SIG-TOR happening out here as well around 3 p.m. on Wednesday. We'll take a look at what's going on here. Possible hazard type TOR 3.0 SIG-TOR param. Not a terrible looking photograph. 1,200 joules per kilogram of CAPE. 3333 SRH 30 knot shear. I mean, this is decent. These are different. You can get a you have 2+ tornado with these type of parameters. Here, South Central Missouri. Let's take a sounding. Plenty of instability. SRH and surface shear are a little bit low, but you still have a marginal TOR possibility. You also have some capping here. This is exactly what capping is. Here's your air parcel. This dashed line is your air parcel. So it's a parcel of air, and you can see this is the temperature of the atmosphere around that parcel of air. But the temperature of the atmosphere around that parcel of air gets warmer than that parcel of air for a second, and then it gets cooler again. Well, this parcel of air is not going to pass through this warmer pocket of air here. It's not going to pass through there. That's capping. But as the day warms up, that parcel of air warms up, the atmosphere around that parcel of air cools, which is what usually happens. The cap can break. The cap can break. Let's push out a little bit farther into Wednesday. Still some significant looking. Look at this. Still some good SIG-TOR params out here. Not a lot of shear. 27 knot low level shear is fine. You can get a spin up from that. 1,500 joules per kilogram, 6 TOR. Yeah, I mean this is a fine EF0 to EF2 type of event through here. I don't suspect anyone's going to see a EF3 plus tornado with this type of setup. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. I'm just telling you, it's not super probable. Let's see. This is up there. Where was this? Up there in Missouri. Low shear, mild, moderate instability day. All right. Now we push into Thursday. Things start to get very spicy out here around Lubbock. Of course, it's always Lubbock. Let's take a look at this sounding near Lubbock. Marginal TOR. incredible. Actually, 1700 surface cape actually isn't that incredible. Most unstable cape 1800. Major capping. Major capping. Very good. Very good rotational shear here. Not a ton of velocity shear once again. And some inhibition. Not the craziest. You got to see your SigTorque param's high there. It to me doesn't look like it should be, but whatever. All right. Western Oklahoma. We're talking 9 p.m. on Thursday. Let's take a look at Western Oklahoma. Let's take a little look-see. No cap. No cap. I wonder if that's where the kids got it from. No cap. No cap. What I'm saying is there's no cap, okay? I'm not a whatever, Gen Z. 3.5 effective SigTorque parameter, possible hazard type Tor, velocity and rotational shear on this one. Not as significant rotational, but velocity and rotational shear, 1500 joules per kilogram cape, which is great. SRH 375, which is high. Almost 40 knot surface shear. Western Oklahoma around 9 p.m. Thursday. I would call that extra spicy. Extra spicy. Let's take a look at the Rufus here and go over a few more. I want to see where we get some big. I know you guys want to know where's the naders going to be, right? Where is the naders going to be, Connor? Where is the naders going to be? Are there going to be any potential naders in Dallas? Well, we're not seeing any significant SigTorque parameters in Dallas, but you don't need to have significant SigTorque parameters to get a significant tornado. This is pretty interesting. This is pretty aggressive. 6 p.m. on Friday. South Central Kansas. This is pretty aggressive. Pretty aggressive. 2,000 joules per kilogram of surface cape. Yep, that'll do it. 203 SRH, more than enough. 25 knot surface shear, not a ton. But high instability, low shear. Again, very interesting setup there. And now pushing out towards Kansas City around this time frame as well. Let's take a look. Sounding towards Kansas City. 6 p.m. Friday. Not a ton of cape here, which is interesting. Marginal Tor, though, on the possible hazard type. 2.0 SigTorque param. High shear. Moderate SRH. Tons of inhibition right here, though. Yeah, I don't think these storms, it's probably because these storms aren't popping off that early. Let's push a little bit further. And let's take a look at this right here. I think this is going to be it right here. Kansas City. 9 p.m. on Friday. I think this sounding is going to show us something interesting, even though it's only a 1.0 SigTorque param. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Look at our loop-de-loop. Look at our loop-de-loop on the hodograph. There you go. Possible hazard type Tor. Again, high shear, moderate to high shear and SRH. Pretty low surface cape, but you can see our inhibition is getting lower and lower and lower, meaning this thing is trying to get buoyant. Interestingly enough, though, and this is what I was talking about earlier. According to this sounding, we still may not even have a squall line or storms developed here yet. And you know, where do these storms develop? Do they develop out here, or do we not even really get the storms developed until we're out a little bit further to the east? And the soundings are telling me that that Omaha may be dodging a bullet here. May just be dodging a bullet. Some SigTorque parameters up there in central Illinois. 46 knot surface shear, 400 SRH. Again, that'll do it as well. It's a lot. Anyways, what's going on, chat? How can you access the Discord? Oh, there you go. There's the link. Does that actually work? Well, would you look at that? Would you look at that? My mods are the best. Just made you part of the Klamath crew. Should be able to see everything. You see my announcements channel. Typically, I announce what's going on in the morning, and I post updates in the morning, and all the weather updates in the morning. Right? So when you wake up in the morning and you take a look at my Discord, what's going on with snowfall? I don't know. There's your NWS 24 to 48 hour snowfall. Here's your national blend 120 hour snowfall. Here is your high end and low end totals over the next 72 hours from the National Weather Service for snow and ice. Here's your HRRR short range model for snow over the next 48 hours. Here's your max and minimum temperatures for day 1 and day 2. 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, 7 day temperature anomalies. Rainfall, all the same thing. Excessive rainfall, how much rainfall, rainfall outlook. Here's your severe risk zones for day 1. Day 1, tornado. Day 1, wind. Day 1, hail. Then here's your severe weather risk zone for day 2, which is the tomorrow, and then the day after tomorrow. And then here's your, actually, here's your extended risk zones. Day 5, day 6, day 7. NWS alerts, wildfires, earthquakes, droughts. Enzo's, MJO's, storm reports. Everything's in here. Tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings as they occur. It's linked directly to NWS, so it's pretty cool. And, you know, this is where the announcements go every morning. Hey, good morning. Bunch of crap's about to happen. There's what I think. Enjoy your day. So, it's free. I've thought about making it subscription a lot of times, but I just would rather a ton of people get in there. Because it's way too much work for me every day to not have people enjoy or use it because of a subscription barrier. Can you explain what CAPE and lifted index are? Lifted index isn't really something I use very much, if I'm being honest. Lifted index is kind of related to buoyancy, but okay, so lifted index, I'm not even gonna, here's what you need to know. Here's what you need to know. Let's get into, I'll show you, let me show you CAPE here. Give me a second. Here's surface-based CAPE. And there's a bunch of different CAPE. You can have surface-based CAPE. You can have most unstable CAPE. You can have forecasted CAPE. So here you go. Okay. CAPE is simple. Convective available potential energy. So CAPE is how much energy is there to produce convection. Now, you just have to understand a low CAPE day is going to be around, we'll call it, it's hard to get thunderstorms, any significant sort of thunderstorms if you're under 500 joules per kilogram of CAPE. You can see right here. Let's go to like Wednesday when we start to get all this CAPE up here. Right? Look at this. Dallas. We're at 2,200 joules per kilogram of surface CAPE. 500 to 1,000 joules per kilogram of surface CAPE, if you look at it on a CAPE map. If you have very high shear and low CAPE, you can still get a tornado. You can't have low shear and low CAPE. I mean, maybe you have zero. But this CAPE is what is the instability. Just think of, if you understand instability, think of CAPE and instability as practically the same exact thing. How unstable is the atmosphere? And there's a bunch of things that cause the atmosphere to be unstable. Cold and warm air running into each other because they can't go through each other. Warm air is forced up, cold air is forced down. As warm air rises, that heat, it pulls moisture up with it, which releases latent heat into the atmosphere, which sparks thunderstorms. So cold and warm air causes instability running into each other. Dry and moist air causes instability. Why? When dry and moist air run into each other, dry air sinks, moist air rises. Any warm or moist air rising, moist air is gonna warm up the atmosphere. Warmth is gonna bring that moisture with it. So dry running into moist air, cold running into warm air. Separate air boundaries. This is representing that, exactly what I'm talking about here. Instability. Separate air boundaries clashing. CAPE does not really take into account wind shear. It doesn't really care. Don't really care what's going on with your shear. So a lot of times you'll see storm chasers say things like high CAPE, low shear, or like our trough is ejecting too quickly, so we've got we have high dew points. There's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, a lot of humidity that helps with thunderstorms because your heat's going to carry that moisture up into the atmosphere and condense into clouds. Oh, but you know, so lots of CAPE, high instability day, but our shear is outrunning our instability. So what you want to do is look at our instability. I wasn't even showing you what I was looking at. What you want to do is look at our instability like this right? Here's our cape. And then you want to go. It's typically good to go and take a look at what's happening with the shear here as well. Well, there's not a lot of shear with that instability, is there? When does the shear start to really pop off here? There's a little bit. Our shear starts to intensify really late. 1, 2 in the morning. 1, 2 in the morning. Do we still have a good amount of cape here at that time? Let's see. Do we still have a lot of instability in the atmosphere? Convective, available, potential energy. Let's take a look. I like looking at our surface-based cape because that's what gets the moisture and the heat off the ground. If you know that you're going to have a high instability day with no inhibition and no cap, you can look at your most unstable cape, which is another interesting one to look at. Most unstable cape is this, because if we know that we're going to get, if we're not going to have capping inhibition issues, just look at your most unstable cape. Anyways, our cape is not that significant where the shear is at the same time here. So there's going to be a little bit of issues potentially, at least according to the Rufus. See how our cape starts to fall off when our wind shear starts to pick up? The one area you still see, you still got a little bit of cape through here and some strong wind shear through here though. At around, we take a look at this, at around 2 a.m. So now our instability, I will say though, is going to begin to fall off as we obviously have thunderstorms forming and thunderstorms moving through the region. That's going to be because you're getting basically rain cooled air, and as your storms move off to the east, that instability that was back here is going to be used up, and those storms are going to transfer out to the east without that instability. So anyways, it's just a balancing act of figuring out, okay, what's our instability looking like? What's our buoyancy of the air? AKA, you can also look at dew points for that. Where's our wind shear setting up? Are all of our severe parameters setting up correctly? Again, you can get tornadoes, low instability, high shear. You can get tornadoes, high instability, low shear, but you want a high instability, high shear day for a significant severe weather or tornado outbreak. That's right, I do giveaways of my merch in Discord. Yeah, I can explain day 4 outlook. I'm gonna get off here in a second. I gotta get up early in the morning again. Let's take a look at our day 4 outlook. Forecast. Here's our day 4. So clearly, you probably don't want to be in here. Although we're gonna see this enhanced, move around, maybe widen, maybe shrink a little bit over the next couple days. I think our slight's gonna end up shrinking as we get closer. I think this is gonna. Our slight's actually going to end up being something like a little bit further to the east, a little bit smaller. I think our enhanced might slide over like, I'm going to take a guess. I think our enhanced might actually slide over like into this region. But we'll see. We could actually have some pretty, it might be down a little bit further. But if you want to take a look at how this is setting up, we can simply go into... Again, I like looking at the Rufus at this range. I know the Rufus is going to overdo it a little bit, but we can't look at the HRRR yet. So let's take a look. Severe weather, reflectivity, and then we'll take a look at starting the plains. As we get into Friday, all right, here we go. This is Friday morning, 1 to 4 a.m. We do actually have some severe weather moving out to the east towards Kansas City. Maybe some severe thunderstorms pushing through the Omaha region, but nothing too bad. At least doesn't look like it yet on the Rufus. This is going to change a little bit. We'll have to watch it closely. Now getting into around 3 to 5 p.m., you can see we start to get some more potential supercellular storms forming to central Kansas, moving off to the north and east. Let's push out towards 6 p.m. Things start to really fire off here around 6 p.m. on Friday. Kansas City, really central to eastern Kansas, northwestern Missouri, central to southern Iowa, southeastern Nebraska. All of us need to be watching this as we get into around 6 p.m. on Friday. Anything's possible with this. Strong, severe, obviously severe thunderstorms, damaging wind, very large hail, maybe a significant tornado or two. Let's push out towards 9. And I'll actually, you can see this QLCS beginning to form, this squall line beginning to form. This is the type of setup once you get to, listen, supercells that aren't along a squall line can produce stronger tornadoes, but you can get like 15 tornadoes up and down a squall line. Because what can happen is the tails of these low pressure systems can just cause a ton of vorticity, and you just have so much vorticity along this QLCS, you just start getting weak tornadoes. Sometimes you get EF2, EF3, but I wouldn't even say EF3. EF0 to EF2s just start spinning up along the squall line. So QLCSs concern me more for the amount of tornadoes, not the strength of tornadoes. But again, no one wants to be an EF1, EF2 tornado either. It's not a good time. We still have some time to figure this out, though. Always the possibility of a bust. I think we know that. Anyways, getting out towards midnight. There you go. We're starting to see this severe weather actually pushing up potentially into Michigan, out towards Chicago, stretching all the way down into north central Oklahoma. And then we get really early in the morning, pushing out towards 3 a.m. And there's that squall line. Now, again, central Michigan, you see some decent updraft helicity tracks. And this is pushing all the way down through central Oklahoma, potentially supercells moving through Tulsa as we get into the early hours of Saturday. According to the latest Rufus. More time to assess this. This is a day 4 risk. So that's what's going on with that. I do got to get off. I plan on putting out another video in the morning. My video this morning was very detailed. I went through all this stuff. Not a ton of people saw my video this morning, but it's very detailed. And I'll put out another detailed video tomorrow. I do try to include in my videos when it comes to severe weather, the timing. So our timing tomorrow, my video will talk about the timing of the severe weather tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, maybe even Saturday. The timing and the intensity of each day. What are your risks? Hail, wind, tornado with each day. And then I'm also going to get into the fact that we're probably going to see a big collapse of cold air and snowstorms back out east in my video tomorrow as well. So obviously I'll have the Discord updated, all the good stuff. I appreciate all you, especially my mod. Everyone have a great night. Appreciate the follows, appreciate the subs, appreciate you being in here, helping out the algorithm. Join the Discord. It's a great time. Become a member of the Climber Crew. All right. You guys are awesome. Everyone have a good night, and I'll see you in the live stream tomorrow night. I'll try to get on earlier if I can. I've been getting on late. Trust me, I do not want to get on this late. It is